Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle, and I am currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In the previous episode, I talked about the month of July, and I talked about how there was something I forgot to mention that I went through back in 2020 and 2021. And I'm going to talk about that in this episode and then wrap up July 2021 as well. So here it goes. So, one thing I forgot to mention, and I knew I was missing something. One thing I forgot to mention was that back in 2020, this was October 2020. I remember being sent a video from my mom. She sent me a video of this guy on Instagram. So there was this Nigerian social media influencer. His name is Chief Obi, right? He had this thing at the time. I don't know if he still has it, called Secret Sundays, where people will call in and share a secret that they never shared with anybody. So people will call in and share bizarre stories. So my mom shares a video with me about one of his clips of Chief Obi's Secret Sunday. She shares it to me on WhatsApp. I watch the video. I'm watching the video. It's a guy. He calls in, and he says that he was trying to file for his parents and his siblings to come to the U.S. He did all the paperwork or whatever. He heard back, and they told him that the blood test, like the DNA test, um, his dad was not his dad. So he was like, "What?" And also, too, when it came to his siblings, his dad was not the father of his siblings. So he was shocked. And in the video, he said that he told Chief Obi that he was 36 years old, that his entire life he knew that man to be his father. He doesn't even know how to wrap his mind around that and everything. So I remember my mom sending me that video. And now, mind you, this was October 2020. And this was like after the whole research I did of Caitlyn and Nami and Brandon and all of that. So I was like, tell me why after I watched that video, I would get paternity fraud videos pop up on my YouTube feed. It would just pop up on my YouTube feed. Now, mind you, the video that was sent to me by my mom was on WhatsApp. It wasn't on YouTube or anything. I would just get YouTube videos pop up on my feed about paternity fraud. I'm like, what is paternity fraud? Found out what it was. And it was just stories about how women were having children in their marriage that did not belong to their husband. So that was going on. So I'm like, okay, God, are you using this to minister to me? Are you using this to let me know that, Lily wasn't Brandon's child? Like, basically to further confirm that Lily wasn't Brandon's child. Now, I want y'all to remember this because later on, there were certain things that happened in Caitlyn and Brandon's relationship that I found out in 2022. So it was important for me to talk about that. What else again? Also, too, another thing I do like to mention was that remember Brandon had moved into Mercury July 2019? So his lease was going to be up July 2020. Now, here's the thing. Brandon moved to Oklahoma January 2021. So I remember thinking in my head, like, oh my goodness, Brandon is paying rent for Mercury apartment and he's also paying rent for the townhouse. He is spending so much money. That's a whole lot going on. I checked Brandon's apartment on the Mercury website. It was posted. So that let me know that Nami had moved out that July of 2021 of the apartment. So I remember just like, man, Brandon was paying for two spots. That's a whole lot of money. What's that? Is that a good idea? Now I want y'all to remember that because later on, we're going to talk about that too. I found out more information about rent, payments, finances, and it was not the best situation for Brandon and Caitlyn. So, yeah. Another thing that I want to talk about, what else again? I think that's pretty much it. Now, I will say this: when it gets to 2022, y'all, I'm really gonna talk about Brandon and Caitlin. They're gonna be the main focus of 2022. As of this point in July 2021, like I said, I didn't know anything because I wasn't checking their social media, so I didn't know what was going on. But even though I didn't know what was going on, God was still ministering to me. Back then, I didn't know that the dreams and the things that were happening to me was God, basically giving me insight of what was going on with Brandon and Caitlin. But later on, I was able to piece it up together. So, ending of July, y'all, I applied for another data scientist position with London. I made it to the second round, which was the coding assessment. Um, that was the part where I was like, okay, now I really need to, work on it. Um, and so yeah, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much what happened in the month of July. Um, yeah, so let me do a little recap. My rent. So the rent, I paid a portion of July. The other portion was going to be covered by the rental assistance. Um, find out that Pepper, she sent in the documents July 12th. What ended up happening, y'all, by the end of July, I think it was July 29th, I was given a late fee for my July rent. Now, mind you, we already had an agreement about what my rent was going to be like for the month of July. So I go to the leasing office and I wanted to talk to Pepper because, like, hey, Pepper, there's a late fee. Got to take that off because we have an agreement with the county's rental assistance. So I get to the leasing office and I'm greeted by a leasing consultant. I tell the lady what's going on. She said, Pepper is in the meeting right now. I would convey the message to her. Okay, cool. The rental assistance, I'm still waiting for the funds. Now, the lady already let me know that it could take a while, so I'm not too pushy about it. The only thing I was pushy about was the late fee. As far as Brandon was concerned, like I said, y'all, I got an email that Brandon changed his address July 15th, and I'm wondering why I got that email. Later on in 2022, I understood why I got that email about him changing his address in Oklahoma. What else again? Jobs. I had applied to the data scientist position. I made it to the coding assessment round, and we're going to talk about that in August. So, yeah, that was pretty much what happened in July 2021. Next episode, I am going to talk about the month of August, which is my birthday month, and which is also the year that I turned 28. Now, remember back in 2019, I had a dream that, someone was telling me the number 28. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm about to turn 28, something good may happen, something from that dream may happen. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about the month of August in the next episode. So yeah, if you are liking the likely story, please like, comment, subscribe. Also, please share my videos as well. Please click the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next episode.